but that's not the point. It's not personal. Okay, you've never met the judge, so I guess your argument is that we don't need a judge, but one day a month, and we don't need to pay as much money as we do. Have you talked to the judge? Have you asked the judge, hey, why would I want you to come in every day of the week? Don't just, for me, and I'm not a voting part of this deal, to me, you have to do more than just say we don't need somebody. If you can't, and Brenda, we don't need Brenda 2 hours a day. And somebody in the audience said, yeah, that she makes her own money on another income. Well, that's irrelevant. And not only irrelevant, it's...
I don't care how much money she makes somewhere else.
It's basically not necessarily anybody even knows. I certainly don't know what Brenda makes on in her other income, whatever. So I guess make your suggestions and the reasons for making them, and we'll go from there. On Monday night, and again, do it wholesale or do it line item at a time. Do we have anybody else who has a feeling on the judge being cut in half?
I think we should.
Okay. Down this way. We're not voting or anything.
We're not voting. I personally think that we don't have
I don't
business.
feel right making a judgment that we're making here when we don't know exactly what the day-to-day things are. We're the council, and of course we know what some of the stuff that goes on. But until you sit there behind that desk or do this stuff, we don't know what the day-to-day, what it takes for them to do different things. And I can tell you right now, I can pretty well guess, because I've been in Brenda's position a time or two, there's more going on in the offices than the public sees and what we see that an employee has to do. And the same with the judge. I don't feel right cutting the judge until we talk to her and see exactly what it takes for her to do her job here.
Well,
And how many of us-
I thought Rich was going to get us meeting with the judge and have us discuss that.
She was going to come to the last workshop and wouldn't have done her any good
Because most of us didn't show up anyway.
But we can still do that, and we can still you can still make amendments to the budget after we pass the final budget too. So if
I would like to see more facts before I make the decision on cutting anyone's. We don't have the facts and figures of the stuff to make a decision on cutting employees right now. I just, if you can present me with the facts and figures of what it takes for them to do their job, then I'll look at it. But right now, throwing these numbers out here like this, I'm sorry, but until we know exactly what it takes to do these jobs, I can't see us cutting anyone. Until we really know what the job is.
You're more in favor of the pay raises and that kind of stuff?
Well, what the pay raise that's in here, that's a cost of living raise that's in this budget. It's not it's a cost of living raise.
When are we going to raise our water rates and sewer rates so that we can compensate for the pay raises and the additional expenses?
You can make a motion to
Right.
approve the budget without pay raises.
We can take the cost of
with
living raises out of there.
A small pay raise or no pay raise. You don't raise the rates of the water and the sewer and the garbage to pay for the judge,
No.
to pay for the policeman. And I've reiterated that I don't know how many times. That doesn't save you anything. That you don't pay for those things with that. You have a small increase. What pays the wages for the general fund expenses and the wages for the general fund is
Taxes.
by improving your town and raising the property values so that every year you get a little more taxes. Bottom line, that's the only way Fromberg's ever going to pull out of this problem where you have some factions who say the town's falling apart and it's terrible and nobody wants to live here. The only people I hear saying that are the people that come here and sit right out front. I don't hear that from people around town who call me and say, hey, can you give me some detail on this property or that property? Or is this road in town? Is this in, because we're moving here. There's 8 or 9 or 10 contingencies going around town now. It's our property values have gone from the 250s to 320 mill value. So that's the way you do it. Now the way you do that is you provide a police service. I don't think everybody's supposed to like Ralph, or does like Ralph. Most people don't like cops, period, because they usually have a run-in, and it's usually a type of crowd that gets a run-in with them once in a while. Nobody is always happy when their water bills are up because they have a leak. I had a letter just excoriating me about the town. And in the letter it referred to people who have told them that this town's a bunch of blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So I wrote them a letter back and explained to them that what had happened. And they came in and told Brenda that, yes, they did find a leak after all, and they apologized, but they said they would call the mayor and tell, and they didn't. But that's what I deal with for 12 years. 2 years I wasn't mayor, but over a 14-year period. We are kind of divided, but there's really no reason to be. If you have, maybe Mike seems to be everybody's favorite. I guess it's like a family with kids that's a favorite. But Mike could be somebody you don't really like his personality or whatever too. I mean, anybody can be that. But if they're getting the job done, the town's function is getting done. The rates were raised to help the project, primarily the projects. We don't have to raise the rates even to take on $700,000 more debt because we anticipated that the project was going to cost more. We put those rates in there relatively high. We had, of course, people that didn't like it, but there wasn't a whole lot of contention about that. If you remember, our public hearings didn't have a whole lot of people. Now, maybe everybody's talking about how they can't stand the rates, but they want their water, they want their sewer, and the town is, when people want to sell their property, they want to be able to say the town is moving forward, we're getting new infrastructure, the property values are going up. Now, some people don't want property values to go up, and those are the people that have property that they've held for 30 and 40 years that they want to see stay as dumps so they don't have to pay higher property taxes. Even those properties are getting handled. You have bought one that was set there for 35 years or more, probably 40, and are working on it. That's great. The town's improving. If you want your police officer to do this or that or patrol more, write it in a job description and give them the ultimatum to do it or not do it. That's my view. But as far as evaluating, yes, there's criticisms for everybody that works in town. There's criticisms for everybody that ever has worked in this town. I've had 2 or 3 policemen before Ralph, and it's the same story. If you go back and look at the newspapers, it's the same story. So maybe what we should be saying is, well, it's the army we have to go to work. It's the army we have. Let's try to get the best out of everybody. And if it doesn't pan out, the new leadership will come in and they'll have the say. And I hope that the new mayor, whoever that will be, will realize that they have to see the day-to-day works of the employees, and they have to sit down with them and have evaluations and discuss their shortcomings and all of that. The town is not in a terrible strait. It was. Jim probably remembers when the town was in a terrible situation.
I do.
When we had no tools, we didn't have any money to buy tools, no money to
I
buy
remember
equipment.
being there when that happened.
Right. We
It's
had
not been
no,
that long ago that
No.
it happened.
and I think the town's moving in the right direction. I think that new people can just take it on the other step and keep going. There are hard decisions to make, and sometimes it's not agreeing with everybody's assessment of what happened when they don't know the story. Get involved in it as mayor for a while, and you're in charge of all the employees. And you'll be knowing every day you might have a call. You might talk to them every day about something. Get their side of the story. Frankly, I don't care if you go to a 20-hour. We had a part-time cop when we first started, I think. Weren't you out 32 hours?
Yeah.
Compromise maybe. Go 20, 32. Maybe somebody will say, well, we don't need 40-hour cop. Fine. We have one, and we've been paying for it, and we have the ability to pay for it. Don't think we should increase wages? Then make a motion not to have raises. Fine. Convince the council of your position. That's the whole process. But convince the other council members of your position based on something other than, because you think that somebody doesn't have to have 8 hours a day. I like Brenda. Brenda's been with us longer than Ralph. Long-time employee, have some respect for that. Nobody's perfect. Brenda has challenges like everybody. And because you're wanting to cut wages, I'm not saying that it's a personal thing, but I haven't seen a reason why we should be cutting anybody's hours or wages based on some mysterious, and I think it's been mysterious because it's just sort of like a generalized program or project down the road. Yeah, there's always going to be problems and big projects down the road. And I think you're absolutely right, Shirley. We need to start planning for those. But I think the way you plan for those is put it down on paper what they are and how much money we need for that project or what do we need, and get it on the paper and pin it on the wall or something. Because I've been working on the sewer project since I became mayor, and it's taken this long just to get to this point. The water project actually longer because it was the first project to come up.
I remember when the water was, and some of the people in town don't remember that because it only affected part of the town. But it was a hit and miss, you guys. Whether we had water in the morning to get up to get ready for work, it would go down. I mean, it was like, okay, the well's not working again. You know, the pump, but it didn't affect the whole town, so not all of them were out, but my house was out.
The ones that were always the ones that were.
Yeah, it was always the same section of town that was out of water, and this would happen like 2 to 3 times a week.
Yep.
That you get up and you'd have no water, or you'd go home at night, there was no water, and you'd have to call them, and they'd have to run down there and work on it, and
These guys missed all of that.
It
They missed a lot of that.
it was
stuff.
not, and I've been here 12 years, and working over at the post office, I seen a lot come and go, and I'll tell you right now, being a new person in town, I heard the same thing that's being said to these other new people, and I learned right away that it was not true, and but so that's why I'm really hesitant until you guys can give me some contract figures why you're wanting to do this. I just don't want any generalization because we're looking at affecting the town when we do this, not just the employees but the town, because when you cut hours in the office and you got people trying to come in here to do things and the office is closed, because they have cut the hours in this place, and I've watched people from over there at the post office and come just slamming and just being absolutely irate that they could not get in here to talk to the town clerk. Or we had a part-time cop, something happened, they could not get a cop when they needed the cop, because that's not set on a time schedule as to when things happen. They're not, and that didn't work too well. And so right now, until you show me, I could say what some of your projections is, we're stepping back instead of going forward, we're going backwards. But if you could give me a justification, I will consider. I'm not saying that it's totally no, but right now, all those generalizations, I just can't see it. And like you said, the general budget, if you save money in the general budget, you can't take it and put it somewhere else. It's not. The county people will be down on you big time if you start, and you can't pull money out of the sewer and water to do something that's not connected to the sewer and water. It has to be, and I'm right, it has to be in that category. It can't be.
Yeah, you can
Right.
you can make a temporary loan, but you can't.
Yeah, you take a temporary money, but you can't just take the money and.
Well, in order to move it one line item or money from one budget to another, you have to do it. The council has to do a resolution.
Right.
And to do water into something like, say, to pay for
Right.
Brenda.
Right. So
Because you fell
if
short.
there's a shortfall in sewer and we take some money from water, you have to.
Yeah, but
pass a resolution to do
still a loan type
Right.
thing. We have to
Right.
put it back.
that. Right.
So So until you can guys come up with something really concrete.
I mean, at the risk of just, spinning this thing to where we're gonna sit here all night.
Right.
Are you comfortable enough just however it falls out, making your motions and you can, at the time of the meeting, you can make them all at once or you can make an individual ones. If you want more data, we have to get the budget passed by October 1. So you could speak to the judge between now and then if you want. I don't know that you'll have much information by then. Let me just throw out the idea that this has been a budget that's been worked over ever since I've been here. We've always had a full-time judge, well, what you call a full-time judge, based on, the 1 hour day a week. People can make a complaint, people can get a ticket, they can come in once a week to get it resolved. Jackie's, the budget is put in there to allow for excesses that may be unaccounted for. So Jackie, if you look at her actuals, it's a little bit less, but she was actually cheaper, gave us a budget cheaper than the judge before her. Hope has been the same price for as long as she's been here. Her price was the same as Kent Young when he was here, and he was here, I don't know, 15 years maybe. Mm-hmm. So these are not things that are being gouged out of, over time have not been raised up. Employees are Hope's contract labor, so she just tells us what we agree to. Wages of the clerk and the policeman are people who are, that's a little bit different. I wouldn't work for a place very long, and if I never did get raises or anything, there's been plenty of years where nobody got one. But that being said, it's not their decision. If they don't like it, they can leave. I happen to believe in a couple percent to cover cost of living is fair. But you guys know as well as I do what's probably going to happen. Two will go one way, two might go the other, and I get to break the tie. And I only did it once, and that was last meeting. That's the way it works out. Later on, after the new leadership comes in, if you want to make amendments to the budget or you want to do something different, you may find that you can do it then. And you'll get your opinions through because you'll have different people. Now, maybe you won't. Maybe it'll
Well, I will say I really appreciate the discussion. I really do.
Yeah.
Because it gives you something to think about.
Right.
And to, kind of go through and look at it again.
Yeah.
But there are some things that I think that we could probably save some money on, but I will set it down in concrete if that's what you need.
Well, it helps. I know because at the first workshop we've kind of bantered around with figures that I think you had in your mind, and so if you can kind of write that stuff down, and if, like I say, if you want to do a motion on each line and then say here's how much we'll save, and then we'll have a discussion like always, and the public can have a say on it, and then we'll vote on it.
Sounds like more like what adults do. They actually prove what they're, throwing out there.
Well,
They say this is for this, and this is how it works, and this is why.
You have reasoned debate. You have reason,
rather than I just want to do that.
And that's we all kind of sometimes want to do something and propose something that we don't maybe fully understand. I'll be the first to admit that the years I've been on as mayor have been a real learning experience, and I appreciate the town giving me that opportunity. But it's been a long learning process. It really has. I haven't talked to Mike. Mike was supposed to be back today, but he got stuck up in the breaks. I don't know if he ever made it back or not.
He's in the Missouri breaks.
Yeah, he was up there during the rain. He got
he will in the Missouri breaks.
And
yeah.
so Jake's last day is Wednesday.
Yeah.
He won't actually be here tomorrow, but he'll be doing the water testing and everything.
I'm
So that's something we'll have to entertain too. I mean, I guess when Nate quit and when Jake quitting, it's like the world still goes on, and Mike will still be getting the daily stuff done. So you save. I mean, until you replace him, you've got that to look forward to as being a little less expensive. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Whenever anybody ever quit before, Mike has said that he doesn't want to work by himself, but if it's determined that maybe even through the winter, maybe we only need a part-time guy. I mean, I don't know, Jim, whatever you think. Everybody can think about that, but Mike might. We got to think about that. Mike might not, and I'm not a believer that employees should be giving you ultimatums, but if we want to be advertising for another town guy too, then
That's another expense.
Public
because then
works
he has
guy,
to
I'm
be,
saying,
they have to be
because-
trained all over again.
well, yeah, and you never know, you might get
How
somebody.
many curb stops did they get put in? I know they said before they hired the last guy that there was 13 curb stops or something.
I'd have to ask Mike, and I know he got several.
Well, I would really be afraid that if we don't, Mike will quit.
Possibly, yeah,
And that's his right
Right.
to do, but then we gotta start all over training somebody
yeah.
and.
I really don't think Michael quit. He's threatened it too many times, and he's never really
Well, I sure
followed
hope
through.
I hope you're right, but
You should have seen, you were here in the
I know.
beginning, what you guys had to go through.
I know.
And
When there was
you
no,
were fixing this, and
no
you
town
were
man,
fixing that.
I remember that. It was a
It
mess.
was a mess. But you got
Well, I
through
don't
it
have to
because you
really
had
worry
Rick-
about that as
yeah,
much
yeah,
as
you don't,
everybody
you don't
else.
have to now. Yeah,
Am I
somebody
gonna
else
get
had to
Shirley
stick
out
with
there to have
that
shovel
one.
buckets?
Because I can,
Hey, just give me a
You're not
holler.
getting me out there.
because I can,
Me
I doubt it.
anymore.
because
I
I
really
can play a
do.
delay game for at least 3 or 4 months, on having to do
No,
something.
that
It
would
was
scare
hard.
me. I really
Yeah,
would.
because you do
It was
invest in
hard.
a person, even though it isn't. It's sort of an ongoing thing. But every year you send them to training and they learn new stuff, and you rely on them to provide the health and safety of the town through the water and the sewer system.
Well, don't forget, you got a new system coming
Yeah.
in. This is not just your average system.
Yeah.
It's not an extraordinary system. It's not like an entire treatment plant, but it still takes some expertise. So
And
it's
that's
somewhere in
gonna be new
between here and
training.
there.
You know,
Yes,
that's gonna
new
be-
training.
Mhm.
And if you want to dump it all now, Fromberg's been through some fits and starts. Nothing aggravates me more than the negative garbage coming out of so many places that shouldn't be saying negative garbage. And believe me, it's just annoying.
Well,
to
everybody
listen.
said that. Everybody always
There's
says you
been a
can
lot
get
of
more
people
done
that
if you
went to
think
bat.
positive and
Well,
work together.
there were a lot of people that went to bat for Fromberg through the years
Yeah.
too. I mean, you got the sidewalks. You had an software outfit. They couldn't. You had a store. You guys helped them get
Yeah.
going and stuff. It isn't like Fromberg sat back and went, "Bleh, bleh, bleh, bleh,"
Well,
Yeah,
anyway, yeah.
garbage.
I know
mean,
that there's people who have their ideas on
negative garbage.
the. I guess like I said, that I guess I'm robbing the people of a chance to evaluate me because I'm not running for mayor again. But I think the town's in good shape. We'll have the discussion. If you want to go on and have discussions more tonight, that's fine. But I think that you have to present your idea and a reason why, and we'll see how it all falls out. That's the way it works.
Because I'll guarantee you, one comment was made about, I think it was towards us. I've never been a yes man in my life. So one of the people out here implied that I was being a yes man. I never have been. So if you give me the facts, I'll look at them. And I'm not sure where in the world they got that. Of course, it's somebody that doesn't know me. So
There's a lot of somebodies that don't know anybody around here that are giving all kinds of wonderful bad advice. I've never seen anything like it. This is bizarre.
There's been a lot of crap going on.
You
That's
bet there
for sure.
has, and I wonder where it's coming from.
yeah.
Well, it's getting.
Well, I know where some
by a
of
lot
it's coming
I
from.
know where most of it's coming.
If we get that, do that 700.
I know, because
Yeah.
I've been, I have been through a bunch of crap
They
myself.
will
You certainly look-
keep it moving, but
Right
construction may
on
not.
that.
They won't do the.
And it's
But-
all
But,
garbage.
you're
but it'd be a
right
more
on that.
And it's
positive,
all
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah.
more
It
positive
is
feel
garbage. It
if they
comes out of
knew
your balls.
that we had the money in hand.
Bars.
Because
Comes out of where?
I hate to see this project
I don't even know
Because
what
we-
the hell
we
you're
do need
talking
it.
about.
yeah,
You
we
usually
need
don't.
it bad.
I'm not.
Well, are
you
we
guys,
done?
now this is not going to be productive for anybody.
I
You
know.
guys bantering back
There's
and
sure a
forth.
lot of animosity.
Now,
though.
there's no secret where the problems as far as the personal attacks have come from,
Mm-hmm.
because they're sitting right out there doing it all the time. So I don't want people to pretend it doesn't happen, because it does.
Right.
People don't like certain people in the
Seen it in the
council.
post
and the
office.
top and all
Listen
that.
to them in the post
And
office.
I've been getting a lot of
Disgusting.
notes with a lot of nasty words on them, you know,
Yeah.
that I guess your mothers might not have washed their mouth out when they were young.
Yeah.
So it's happening, and it's right downtown. I'm going to say it. Most of it comes from downtown. It doesn't start here. It doesn't start at anybody's home that's on the council. It happens across the street and downtown. And don't tell me it doesn't, because I have these people come right to me afterwards, and they say things that I know that they just heard from somewhere else downtown.
Well, I'll tell you, Rich, they did it to me, but
I know.
I had to get the postal inspector involved to shut them down.
Right, it happens. I mean,
Jeez,
you know,
Louise.
I did.
it's people are operating on their emotions because they think they know something. I think they're confused about some things, but people do operate on emotions, and you have that happens when people get negative. They want to spread it to everybody else. The only people that people have sat here and said nobody likes the town. They don't like the mayor. They don't like the chief of police. They think the town sucks. I had a guy call it a blank and blank hole one time. And the only people I ever hear speak negative about this town are the ones that are downtown sitting right there. And I don't care if they hear the recording, because they've sat here and told me and looked in my eyes that they hate us. And I don't think they hate you. They said, I don't think they were talking about everybody. But that's not productive, and that's not going to help the town. And I would like to say it doesn't bother me. It bothers me because when people come to town, the first people they run into usually are the people downtown. And they're the ones getting all the word that it's a real crappy place to live. They're the only ones I ever hear say that, is the people that come here and say it right.
Well, if they think it's such a crappy place to live, why
Yeah.
are they living here?
You're not forced to live here.
Same good life.
Yeah.
Okay, are we done? I mean,
Well, I think we are. So let me just reiterate what might happen Thursday. Is everybody going to be able to make it Thursday?
Yeah.
Again, I'll get you information as fast as I know if it's going to be for sure thing. I'll have Brenda call everybody. We'll know sometime tomorrow.
We definitely need it.
Yeah, we need to have the
Yeah,
meeting.
I think we're fortunate that it's
even
available when
Yeah.
we need it.
Yeah.
It's
It may get
And we've
something
already
started.
invested too much.
yeah. So I mean, we got too much to lose.
And it may
We
be
got a lot
that
to lose if we don't.
it may be that they'll get some stuff done,
Yeah,
but they might not full bore construction because of the winter coming.
yeah, but at least
But they might do some of the preliminary
Yeah,
stuff.
but at least we
small
know.
stuff.
But you can't go back to what it used to be. That stench alone was horrible. These two weren't even here when that was going on. You couldn't even live
Yeah.
on this side of town. It was awful, and you struggled to get that straightened out.
I'm surprised that
You wouldn't have a clue.
with the draining.
yeah, it was bad.
It was bad.
It wasn't
I've
really
never
that great
seen
when I
anything
moved
like
here.
it. Like
It wasn't that great. You know, a few years
Yeah.
ago it got when
It was
every
wretched.
time we
It's
changed.
been better the last 5,
Yeah.
6 years. It's been
It's
better.
been a
Yeah.
struggle. It's
Yeah.
been hard work.
When
It's
Mike
been-
was hired,
Yeah.
it started stinking.
Mhm.
And when Raymond was here before Mike, we figured out how to
How to
make it
fix
quit
it.
stinking.
Yeah.
And when Mike was here, it started stinking. So I explained it to him what we had done, and that worked.
Yeah.
But then if you don't
It's
keep
a
an eye on
management
it, pretty
thing.
soon it starts stinking again, and you got to do it again,
Yeah.
and then pretty soon it starts stinking. But what surprises me, the other day when this rainstorm came in,
Mhm.
you could smell a little bit from that lagoon. It's almost drained. It's
Yeah.
almost dried
Wasn't
up.
bad though.
I thought that was going to really be
Wasn't
smelly,
bad.
but it's so
I
far.
thought when they
knock
knocked
on
out
wood,
that
it isn't
water,
too
I
bad.
thought, oh Lord help us, we're up for another
I
year
did
of this
too.
stuff.
I
Well,
thought
we're right
we
down
did.
there too, so it's like, this
Yeah.
whole side of town, because Hayes, all of them would call and stuff like that. I mean, people would call us. And,
Well, it was bad.
It's like, oh, Lord.
You'd stop, you'd step outside. And I mean, it would hit you right in the face.
it was pretty stout. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
So there's
took a
hard
while.
feelings. I know there's been some hard feelings among the public,
Mhm.
and I try to keep the meetings civil. It happens. I think that if we just look at continuing to, I think everybody has always done what's best for Fromberg. Nobody's ever intentionally done anything or promoted something that they thought was going to be detrimental to anyone. it's always been they're looking at the town as a whole, and I hope that continues. I think it will. That's really the only way to go is to
Well,
try
I think
to.
that's what drives me, gets me angry,
Yeah.
is when there's the insinuation that you lie and
Right.
you're a crook. I heard one
Right.
guy
Right.
call you a crook.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't even know what you do, and they
Yeah,
don't
by
know
the
what all
way,
you
by the
guys
way,
do.
I might want to clear something up now
It's ridiculous.
about something that happened a few meetings ago. I had mentioned that Ralph was the most
I hear the most bizarre stuff.
trained or qualified person we've ever had, and there was a man in the audience who said lie or wrong. He said wrong, and I said, "Well, who are you talking about?" And he said, "McElhaney." And he stood up, and I said, "Well, he's never worked for the town." He says, "Wrong," and he stormed out. Well, he'd never worked for this town, and he was the undersheriff in Yellowstone County. And he applied for a job before even Ralph came, and he came in. He's an older fella. Maybe you know him. I don't know. This fella might have been
I know.
a relation. Okay,
That's
his
his brother. That's his brother.
That's his brother.
Well, Jim, I think his name is Jim.
Yeah.
Jim McElhaney came in, and I was in the office when he did it, and he said, "I'd like to withdraw my application. I'm too old for this stuff," and he withdrew. And that's why I didn't make the connection when he first started saying something.
And Jim's working real hard to die, so we just.
Yeah, he's
been
really,
out
Well,
rough.
he's really
having some
in bad shape right now.
stuff,
He's
yeah.
been rough. all
But
the
that's the story behind that. But see, there's a misconception by this brother or whatever.
Well, I'll tell you one
And I
thing.
don't know how many people he's told that, but see, those are the kind of things that circle around, and it becomes the truth.
Uh-huh.
Because if you say it to people who want to believe it, it's going to be true. But it's not true, and it's really easily documented, So I don't know. But there was certainly something that was bugging him about what I had said.
I've just never seen so much negative garbage in my life. Like that guy that showed up at our place of business.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
I dare go there?
Well, you mean which guy? There's
The
quite a
one
few
with the
times that
foulest
happened.
mouth on the planet.
Or in
I
our
mean,
driveway.
with my mother-in-law
Threatening
standing
and
there. His
I
mom,
mean,
his
I
mom
don't
was
know if I
standing
want to say anything because there is a
Foul,
candidate.
foul
There's a
people,
candidate
foul.
in that room who might change her mind if we talk
They're
about
just
all
foul.
the people that have come
Well, and
storming
it's
at the
one thing.
driveway.
There's people that come to the
business
house
or-
too, and they've got an issue, and they say, I got to get to that. I got a water leak or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That don't make sense. When they call and the only words they know are 4-letter, and here we go again.
Well, if they only
No
realize,
respect.
usually after when they do that stuff, that's when you decide, well, then you don't have a problem.
Yeah, you can. But there's too many of them, and this negativity down all around this yakety yak
Well, people get
is horrible. Horrible.
some
Foul.
people come to you and talk about an issue, and some people
It's just
cuss you out
foul.
up and down
Just foul.
and don't even let you make an explanation. But it happens. But I think I know I'm on a good track because I'm going to go on vacation.
I can see the ocean someday.
We're
You
thinking
promised
about we
me.
may winter in Arizona.
We may.
We have
Well, if you want to see the
offers
ocean, you
down
better
there
take
to
her to
come down there,
California
so-
or somewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Texas or no, maybe not Texas.
Down around Phoenix.
Tucson.
Oh, Tucson, that's even better.
Oh, that's yeah. You can
That's
see
a
the
little
Gulf
cooler
from
than
there.
Phoenix.
Yeah.
We'll
So
see.
we have plans to do some things, and
Maybe I won't have to listen
Yeah,
to the
I hope we get
foul
this.
4-letter garbage coming out of
Yeah,
somebody's mouth.
yeah. And hopefully, we'll get this meeting going Thursday, and we'll get this keep this project moving forward. But I told him I couldn't make a decision. Obviously, he knew that. I said I'm not the king of Fromberg. I'm the mayor, so we have to have council decide.
Go back in.
I said I'm all for it because I think we do have the rates in place to pay for it. And the state, by the way, is analyzing that and has said that our rates are okay without changing
No
it.
bad pain.
Now, that's always going to be
medicine now.
something
For
that
that?
people have to
The
really
doctor said,
analyze
well,
from year to year.
He said, well,
Is
we
as
think
costs go up, are
maybe
you
I
still making
missed-
enough to pay for
maybe
this?
I didn't get that one disc all
Yeah.
cleaned up. Maybe I missed a piece. So the MRI did for an hour and 20
Well,
minutes.
is everybody
He went in and
Mhm.
ready to go?
Yeah.
Call it a night?
Mm.
All right, well, I can't just disperse if we want, because like I say, it's an informal meeting.
Okie doke.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Yep, thank you.
So we'll find out tomorrow what they found out. He says, I don't want to be covered again. He's had 7 surgeries in the last 7 years.
Oh,
So he's about,
got surgery out.
yeah, we're getting to know that hospital and clinic way too well.